Hey guys, Noah here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to get all 72 notes in Book 2, Chapter 1, in Book 1. So let's get right into it. Okay guys, so the first note is actually inside of the shower in Book 1, Chapter 1. So we grab that. Alright. Now let's move on to the second note in this chapter. Okay guys, so the second note is actually inside of the green key room on the wall right here. So let's move on to the third note. Okay, so the third note is actually on the back of the playhouse right here. Now let's move on to the fourth note. Okay guys, so the fourth note is actually inside of the vent right here. Right here inside of the vent. So you grab that, boom. Now let's move on to the fifth note. Okay guys, so the fifth note is actually inside of the orange room, inside of this room right here and to your left. So you click on that, and now we can move on to the final note for chapter 1. Okay guys, so the sixth note is actually behind the lasers in this room over here. So you go behind here, and boom, there's the last note. So once you grab all 6 notes, then you can die, escape, do whatever you want, and then we can move on to chapter 2. Okay guys, so the first note for chapter 2 is actually out in the yard, out on this table right here, next to the green crate. So you want to click that. Now we can see where the second note for chapter 2 is. Okay guys, so the second note is actually over here in the prison cell area in one of the cells. It's on the first floor. Just check all the cells in the first floor and you'll definitely find it. Now we can move on to the third note in chapter 2. Okay guys, so the third note is actually upstairs right here beside the purple safe. So you want to click that. Now we can move on to the fourth note. Okay guys, so the fourth note is actually inside of the plank room, across the plank right here, just sitting here on the bench. So you want to grab that. Now we can move on to the fifth note. Okay guys, so the fifth note is actually inside of the orange room right here on the other side of this bench thing right here. So click that. Now we can move on to the sixth and final note for chapter 2. Okay guys, so the sixth note is actually inside of the garage right here. When you open up the door right here, it's just sitting here on this thingy. So now that we have all 6 notes for chapter 2, we can move on to chapter 3. Okay guys, so the first note in chapter 3 is actually in the L room, the room that connects the blue room to this weird room with like the 4 different exits. And it's also the one where the purple key mostly spawns. So grab that. Now we can move on to the second note. The second note is actually in the red room right here behind this crate. So I'm gonna grab that. Boom. There we have it. Now let's move on to the third note. So the third note is actually inside of the blue room right here and to your right. So you want to grab that. Now we can move on to the fourth note. Now the fourth note is actually inside of the reception area right here on this wall right here. So you want to grab now, that we can move on to the fifth note. So the fifth note actually spawns on the other side of the plank right here on the table. Now we can move on to the sixth and final note. Okay, so the sixth note is actually on the 3rd floor. All the way up here, you turn this corner right here, and it's right here next to where the green egg usually spawns. So you want to grab that. Boom. Now you have all the notes for chapter 3. Now you can die, escape, do whatever you want. We can move on to chapter 4. Okay guys, so the first note is actually right here, right next to Piggy spawn. See, Piggy spawns right here. He will in 1 second. See, Piggy spawns right there. And here is the note. So you want to click that. Now we can move on to the second note. Okay guys, so the second note is actually directly on the left side of the yellow safe. So you want to click that. Boom, there you go. Now we can move on to the third note of chapter 4. Okay guys, so the third note is actually right here on the side of the wall. See, this is the cabin right here with the purple safe. Then you go right outside the purple safe room, and then right it is right here. So you click on it. Now we can move on to the fourth note. Okay guys, so the fourth note is actually right here inside the green cabin right here. Right here. There you go. Now you have the fourth note. Okay guys, so the fifth note is actually right here inside of the blue generator room. So once we grab this, we can move on to the sixth and final note. Okay guys, so as you might have guessed, the sixth note is inside of the cave right here on the little piece of carpet. So now you have all of the 6 notes in chapter 4, and we can move on to chapter 5. Okay guys, so now that we're in the school, the first note is actually in the room directly to your right as soon as you spawn in. Like right here is the note. And then right over there, in front of that door right there, that is where you spawn. So here is the first note. Let's grab it and move on to the second note. Okay guys, so the second note is actually inside of this weird conference room thingy. It's right here on the left wall, the wall farthest from the door. So once you get that, we can move on to the third note of the school. Okay guys, so the third note, is actually on the inside of the cafeteria on the wall that is closest to the blue door. So once you grab that, we can move on to the fourth note. Okay guys, so the fourth note is actually right here on the shelf right here. From when you enter the blue door, you go right here, and on the left shelf right here is the note. So now we can move on to the fifth note. Okay guys, so the fifth note is actually inside of the gym, and it is right furthest. If you enter the way that you have to open it, then it's all the way on the far right. Grab that, and we can move on to the sixth and final note of chapter 5. Okay guys, so the sixth and final note is actually in the sewer area of the school. Once you've drained the water, you'll see the exit door right here. You want to go into the room directly opposite the exit door, and right here on the wall will be the sixth and final note. Now that we've collected that, we can move on to chapter 6. Okay guys, so the first note in hospital is right here next to the purple safe, which is the room on the left that is farthest from any room anywhere. So we just go over here, click the note, and we can move on to the second note in hospital. Okay guys, so the second note is actually right here next to the purple canister on the second floor. Right here is the note. So we click on it, there we go. Now we have the second note, so let's move on to the third note. Okay guys, so the third note is actually inside of the green keycard room right here. So we have all the monitors to the left side, to the right side we have the vial, but to the even righter side we have the note. So we want to click on that, boom. Then we can move on to the fourth note. Okay guys, so the fourth note is right here on this bench, right here next to the barricaded room. So we want to click on that. And then actually the fifth note is right here inside of the barricaded room to the left of the fridge. You want to click on that. And then we have 5 notes, so we can move on to the 6th note. Okay guys, so the 6th and final note for hospital is actually inside of the blue keycard room to the right side of the room. Click on that. Now you have all 6 of the notes in chapter 6. So let's move on to chapter 7. Okay guys, so the first note is actually right here on the side of the train. As soon as you spawn in, just go to your right, look on the train, and there it is, the first note. Okay, now I'm going to show you where the second note is. Okay guys, so the second note is actually inside of the green key room right here on the wall. So you want to touch that. Boom, now we can move on to the third note. Okay guys, so the third note is actually inside of the orange room right here on the other side of the purple safe. So once you touch that, now you can move on to the fourth note. So the fourth note is actually inside of the blue key room, inside of the room that resides within the blue key room, right here on the wall. So once you touch that, then you can move on to the fifth note. Okay guys, so the fifth note is actually right here on the side of the pillar, right here next to the vent and near the vending machine. So once you click that, you can move on to the 6th and final note for chapter 7. Okay guys, so the 6th note is actually inside of the final room that you get, inside of the room where you get the white key right here to your right of this thing. And next to the containers, right here is the note, so you want to click that. Now you can move on to chapter 8. Okay guys, the first note for chapter 8 is actually inside of the mirror room right here. So once you enter in the first door, you take your first right, and then right there is the note. So once you click on that, then you have the first one, and we can move on to the second one. Okay guys, so here is the second one. It is right here on the back side of the Ferris wheel platform right here. The yellow key can spawn here, which means it is right here. So once you grab that, you can move on to the third note. Okay guys, so the third note is actually right here behind the refrigerator thingy on the green cart side of the green room. So right here is the note. Once you touch that, you have the third one, and you can move on to the fourth one. Okay guys, so the fourth note is actually right up here with the wrench. It's right here. Here's the note. Once you touch that, you can move on to the fifth note. Okay guys, so the fifth note is actually right here behind the roller coaster right here. So once you get that, you can move on to the sixth note. Okay guys, so the sixth note is actually inside of the cage. So once you open up the cage, directly to your left is the note. So once you grab that, you can move on to chapter 9. Okay guys, so the first note for chapter 9 is actually right inside of the room directly next to the red key room, and it'll be sitting here right on the bed. So once you collect that, you can move on to the second note. Okay guys, so the second note is actually inside of the green key card room right here in the corner. So once you grab that, you can move on to the third note. Okay guys, so the third note is actually right here on this cabinet. The one that is right next to, so once you enter in the door that is next to Grandma's Piggy Poutine, on that side, it'll be on this cabinet right here. So once you grab that, you can move on to the fourth note. Okay guys, so the fourth note is actually right inside of the orange keycard room right here on the wall. So once you collect that, you can move on to the fifth note. Okay guys, so the fifth note is actually inside of Grandma's Piggy Poutine shop right here on the side. When you enter, you grab that, and you can move on to the sixth and final note for chapter 9. Okay guys, so the sixth and final note for chapter 9 is actually right here inside of the blue keycard room, right here next to where the red keycard spawns. You grab that, and you can move on to chapter 10. Okay guys, so the first note for chapter 10 is actually inside of the vent. You gotta be careful for Mousy, but it's right here inside of the vent on the very back wall. So once you grab that, you're good to go and you're able to move on to the second note. Okay guys, so the second note is actually right here, just sitting here on the wall. So this is the escalator right here that is closest to the spawn location and is pretty close to Piggy spawn. So right over here next to the vending machine and where the orange key usually spawns is the second note. So once you grab that, we can move on to the third note. Okay guys, so the third note is actually inside of the birdie bank. So right here is the note. It's right next to the laser. So once you grab that, you can move on to the fourth note. Okay guys, so the fourth note is actually right here inside of Kitty's kitchen. So once you grab that, you're good to go to move on to the fifth note. Okay guys, so the fifth note is actually inside of the blue room right here to your right. And once you grab that, you're able to move on to the sixth and final note for chapter 10. Okay guys, so the sixth and final note for chapter 10 is actually inside the green room with the arcade machine game that gives you the white key. Directly left of that is the note next to the arcade machine. So once you grab that, you're good to go to move on to chapter 11. Okay guys, so the first note in chapter 11 is actually inside of the kitchen area right here. See, it's got the vending machine, it's got the ovens, it's got the colored food. Right here on the other side, near the tank ammo, is where the first note is. So once you grab that, you can move on to the second note. Okay guys, so the second note is actually inside of the orange room right here. And on the other side of this bed, the bed with the note underneath it, is the note. So once you grab that, you can move on to the third note. Okay guys, so the third note is actually inside, like this is where Piggy spawns, and inside of right here is the red key room. So right here where the wrench normally spawns, but it didn't spawn here this time, sometimes it can spawn here. Right here is where the third note is. So once you grab that, you can move on to the fourth note. Okay guys, so the fourth note is actually right up here behind the fire. Right next to the gas canister is the note. So once you grab that, you can move on to the fifth note. Okay guys, so the fifth note is actually, so once you've activated the tank, you'll get the opportunity to go back here, and the fifth note is right here. So once you grab that, you can move on to the sixth note. Okay guys, so the sixth note is actually inside of the room. Once the tank has blown it up, right here to your right, to your left, is the note. So once you grab the note, then you have all 6 notes for chapter 11, and we can move on to chapter 12 and the final chapter for the pages for now, until book 2's pages come out. Okay guys, so the first note in chapter 12 is on this desk right here, where the orange key usually spawns, is where the note will spawn. Right there on the table, as you can see. Okay guys, so the second note is actually on the staircase to the right. As soon as you get down to the bottom of the staircase, right here is the note. Okay guys, so the third note is actually right in this room, right over here, on the other side of the refrigerator right here. So let's grab that. Perfect. Now we can move on to the fourth note. Okay guys, so the fourth note actually spawns right in here, right directly next to the green vial. So once you grab that, you're good to go to try and get the fifth note. Okay guys, so the fifth note is actually inside of the red key room right here. Inside, right next to where the blue key sometimes spawns, right next to where the battery always spawns. So when you grab that, now you can move on to the 6th note. Okay guys, so to get the 6th note, you want to be in the distorted plant area, and you want to go straight to the carnival area, and right there on the bench right here is where the note will be. So once you get that, you can die, escape, do whatever you have to do, but yeah, now you have all 72 notes in book 1, and we have to wait till book 2 comes out, till all 12 chapters in book 2 come out, so that we can get all the pages in book 2. But until then, that is it for the pages. Okay guys, so now that I've shown you how to get all 72 pages in book 1, because obviously book 2's pages aren't out yet, because all 12 chapters for book 2 aren't out, so for the sake of this video being as short as possible, I'm not going to read all the pages, but I am going to go all the way to the beginning, and you can pause the video as I go through the different pages to read them if you would like. But here you go. Chapter 1, House. Alright. Here's Station. And here's Gallery. Here's Chapter 4. Here's School. Here's Hospital. Here's Metro. Here's Carnival. Here's City. Here's Mall. Here's Outpost. And here is Chapter 12. So, if you guys like this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, join my Roblox group, link in the description down below, and I will see you guys next time.